Mobile.com and use code SXM76 for a free month or call 833-239-3075.
Limited government economic opportunity.
We are
Sirius XM Patriot.
Channel 125.
Conservative principles live here.
This is Stacy on the Right with Stacy Washington
on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
Welcome back to Stacy on the Right. Jerome Hudson here. I don't know exactly what the fallout from the Democrats' new push to use Jeffrey Epstein to weaken, beat back Trump. But it does tell me something, or reinforces what I already knew, is that Democrats really don't have any moves. They certainly don't want to present ideas and legislation for the American people. Use that to corner in Republicans, dare Republicans to debate or present counter measures to theirs. So that's clearly not what they're doing. It's usually not ever what they're about, Democrats. And so they're using the Jeffrey Epstein legend because I guess to them it's the best thing, right? Just to distract. The more Donald Trump is talking about Jeffrey Epstein, the more Carolina Levitt questions about Jeffrey Epstein, the less that Donald Trump can actually talk about his policies, where they're working, where he needs to do better. That is the strategy, pretty much. But this time around, I wonder what the effect of the Democrats' Jeffrey Epstein policy and strategy will be, because there are now more people who aren't necessarily political figures willing to call bullshit on what the Democrats are doing here. Exhibit A, Stephen A. Smith has for a quarter century, give or take, been very popular sports analyst. Well, he's in the SiriusXM family. I think he has 2 shows on the network. And here is Stephen A. Smith basically saying what is the most obvious takeaway, which is if Democrats really actually thought that Jeffrey Epstein, people that he victimized, deserved justice, then they would have taken every opportunity to deliver that justice in the best way that they possibly could when they had their president or their auto pen in the White House behind the resolute desk in Joe Biden. Cut 21.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing? I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open are being opened now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails. That could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now. What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See, this is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him. Since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, just so she wouldn't reveal their happenings leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know?
Yeah, you could make even the more logical answer that, okay, in 2016 or 2015, in the summer of 2015, when President Trump announced, a lot of Democrats, certainly Hillary Clinton's camp, didn't take Donald Trump seriously. And it was until a week before the presidential election that Hillary Clinton really came to terms with that mistake that she made. I think it was TMZ that broke the story that Hillary Clinton canceled basically like $1 million of fireworks that she had planned to light up New York City skies. So this was a week before the election. You could essentially say Hillary Clinton knew she was going to lose to Donald Trump. And so, if you got the Epstein dirt in, you got, that is an Obama White House, an Obama DOJ that, weaponized, or Obama weaponized the DOJ against Trump. There's no reason to think that with all the files that were already known and out in public, or at least in the hands of federal prosecutors, federal courts, DOJ, 2015, 2016, that lynch that Barack Obama win to muddy up Donald Trump in 2016 through January 2017, there's no reason to believe that if there was incriminating evidence out there tying Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, that Barack Obama and his DOJ would have used it. And you certainly couldn't make that argument with Joe Biden. Emperor Palpatine in Philadelphia's speech, Joe Biden basically casting every supporter of Donald Trump as an enemy of the United States. Like if Joe Biden's DOJ had the goods on Trump, tying him to Epstein, come on, man. Come on, and I hate it. I hate it for the life of me. If you're a program director or a producer, a senior writer at CNN or ABC or NBC, it's like, this story bleeds, so we got to lead with it. But there's really no story here. I mean, maybe just one courageous person. Just tell the anchor to tell the truth. Donald Trump was the enemy of Jeffrey Epstein. Embarrassed the guy. Tried to help put him in jail. And it was Trump's DOJ that went after him. This is Stacey on the right. Stay with us.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/news. That's ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter.com/news. Running a small business is hard. Offering health benefits shouldn't be. That flips the system on healthcare. Employers trying to pre-select a single plan that will work for all employees is a broken idea, and Thatch solves that problem. In partnership with Allstate Health, Thatch lets you, the business owner, set a budget tax-free, and your employees pick the health plans that work for them. Want to see for yourself? Visit allstatehealth.com/patriot today and get a $100 Amazon gift card when you complete a demo. No more unpredictable costs. No more one-size-fits-all plans. Just flexible, personalized benefits. And less stress for you. And health coverage that won't break the bank for your employees. Thatch and Allstate Health handle everything from setup to support, keeping your employees happy and giving you peace of mind. Learn more at allstatehealth.com/patriot and get a $100 Amazon gift card when you complete a demo. That's allstatehealth.com/patriot. allstatehealth.com/patriot.
Sanctity of life. Strong families.
We are
XM Patriots.
Channel 125.
Conservative principles live here.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A White House official says essential federal workers should get their back pay soon. Trump economic advisor Kevin Hassett said payments will probably come in the next week or sooner. Federal workers deemed essential, including Capitol Police officers, TSA workers, and air traffic controllers, had been forced to work without paychecks during the shutdown. Meanwhile, it'll likely take some time to get SNAP food aid payments and air travel back to normal. White House correspondent Greg Clugston. While the government shutdown has most federal employees heading back to work, getting the planes back up in the air may take a little more time.
While officials assess to see whether the air traffic system can safely return to normal. The flight cuts were implemented last week as more air traffic controllers were calling out of work, citing stress and the need to take on second jobs, leaving some control towers and facilities short-staffed. I'm Mike Hempen.
Blue Origin has launched its new huge Glenn rocket with a pair of NASA spacecraft destined for Mars. Bob Agnew reports.
The liftoff from Florida is only the second flight of the rocket that Jeff Bezos' company and NASA are counting on to get people and supplies to the moon. The Mars orbiters will spend a year hanging around Earth before setting off to the Red Planet. The rocket's inaugural test flight earlier this year reached orbit but failed to land the booster on a barge in the Atlantic. This time, Blue Origin recovered the booster on its floating platform. Bob Agnew reporting.
It was a rough day on Wall Street as the Dow plunged 797 points. The Nasdaq was down by 536, with the S&P 500 declining by 113. More at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
The number of people diagnosed with tuberculosis worldwide rose again last year, including in the U.S. Global total eclipsed 2023's record number.
About 8.3 million people across the globe were newly diagnosed with TB in 2024. The World Health Organization says not all infections are diagnosed. The new numbers represent 78% of the estimated number of actual new cases. Globally, the number of deaths caused by TB fell last year. Tuberculosis cases in the U.S. continue to rise, reaching the highest level in more than a dozen years. Rich Thomason reporting.
Israel says militants have handed over one of the last 4 remaining hostages taken during the October 7th, 2023 attack that launched the war in Gaza. News and analysis available at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
Conservative, Christian, mother, wife, Air Force veteran, gun rights advocate.
This is Stacey on the Right. Here's your host, Stacey Washington.
Welcome back to Stacey on the Right, hour number 2. Jerome Hudson filling in for Stacey. 866-92874 is the number to join the program. Joining us now, as promised, Michael O'Neill, Vice President of Legal Affairs for Landmark Legal Foundation. Michael, welcome to the program.
How are you tonight?
Doing great. Doing terrific. This is an issue, lawfare, activist judges, just egregious overstepping that has been, I think, highlighted. This is one of those weird strands of Trump derangement syndrome. We'll just say, and I don't think people would have realized that even during the government shutdown, that these judges were working in concert with activist groups and unions, continuing their campaign for lawfare.
Right.
Get that.
Right. Right. I mean, you saw a lot of it continued. I mean, the courts they had adjusted some of their scheduling. There were some filing things that had shifted, but a lot of the judicial business continued. I mean, the courts weren't shut down; they continued to issue orders in all kinds of areas. But of course, the lawfare continued. And this is something that, as you said, has been present ever since the inception, really, of the Trump administration. Virtually, I can't say every executive action, but a large number of executive actions taken by the president have been challenged in some shape or form in various courts throughout the country. And the opposition knows exactly what they were doing. They knew that the goal of this was not necessarily to halt any of the implementation of any of these executive actions, but certainly to delay it as much as they can. And the smart lawyers representing, as I said, the unions or the special interest groups or even the state know exactly where to initiate these lawsuits, to file these lawsuits in front of presumably judges that are going to be sympathetic to their point of view. Keep in mind, you're up 12. I know we're getting into November now, but setting aside for the first year of the Trump presidency, 12 of the preceding 16 years have been had either Obama or Joe Biden as president. And they've been able to put, and not necessarily on the Supreme Court, on certainly on a lot of the district courts, the courts of first impression, and to a lesser extent the circuit courts, judges are going to be very sympathetic for that, and not exactly on board to support any of the predisposed to ruling against some of the Donald Trump's efforts to become president. Exactly.
So, Michael, let's break down a few of these cases. You have one involving the deployment of the National Guard, obviously the president, insofar as he's focusing on domestic politics. There's crime, and then there's illegal immigration. He's deployed the National Guard to several cities to try to tackle both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a running one. That's one that's been really just the subject of fights, numerous efforts, numerous lawsuits. And I mean, you saw the one. Essentially, you can really break it down into multiple levels. You could say that the deployment of the National Guard to provide operational security to buildings, to ICE detention centers, for example. And the argument there that the Trump administration makes is that the local jurisdictions, the local police departments aren't doing their job in providing security and to block the jurisdictions, the locations of these buildings, the blocks surrounding these federal detention facilities. And so when you have these Antifa insurrectionists maintaining a permanent presence outside of these ICE detention facilities, you're jeopardizing federal property, you're jeopardizing federal law enforcement, the safety of federal law enforcement. You're also preventing them from executing their duties. So the president invokes his power to say, okay, I'm going to deploy National Guard to provide this operational security, not necessarily to send these National Guard troops in to conduct law enforcement operations, but just to provide security. And then there's been mixed bag of that. Sometimes you see some success in some courts, and then there's been instances where the judiciary said no, the circumstances of the ground don't justify this.
Hey, someone. Hey, Brandon. Sorry, guys.
Portland, for example,
I had to run in, grab an order. A couple orders, 2 orders in a row here. I got 2 deliveries to make now.
What's really concerning to me in these instances,
the wife is worried about me, so I was messaging her. Ooh, shit. Apparently, I have a turn here. Never gone this way before.
The police department can do their job and can enforce the law and can ensure that Antifa insurrectionists are not posing a threat, because they did it in Portland just a couple of weeks ago. They just with them. They said, okay, we're going to get rid of it. Look like the Supreme Court was close to rule for Trump, so we're going to get out of it, which is clear out. So it's ridiculous that the Trump administration actually has to go through deploying the National Guard to provide security. Now, I'm all for like the surging of federal resources of like a city like Memphis need extra federal law.
Always good to see you, someone. Thank you for popping in.
Actually working against the National Guard. And when they're against it, like
if you ever do figure out how to get logged in on Rumble, I will buy you a membership.
Stop the enforcement of our immigration laws.
You don't need to pay for it just to get in, but once in a while I do premium streams. So I'll pay for it.
Oftentimes he's successful in ensuring that the ICE continues to do their job. I think that the end goal here is to enforce the immigration laws, and we are seeing that in operative effect across our country.
There was actually a bit of news earlier today on Antifa as it relates to actual physical disruptions of these federal law enforcement. I'm going to read the lead paragraph here from Fox News earlier today. The State Department will designate 4 Antifa groups operating in Europe as foreign terrorist organization, FTOs.
Hey, welcome, Roy. I appreciate you popping in, brother. Thank you.
Devices Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah. I think this gives Marco Rubio, former senior senator here in Florida, a lot of leeway in terms of how the Trump administration can handle Antifa. Or at least this is a major first step.
Yeah, that is an interesting development. I guess in an international capacity, Antifa, it's funny, we talk about Antifa as one major organization, but we know that there's cells, it's operating independent cells, operating insurrectionist groups throughout the country, not necessarily, maybe under some sort of umbrella, but not under a cohesive umbrella. So, kind of like playing whack-a-mole with this. But yeah, I think that's a clear escalation and recognition of the threat that they pose, I guess, internationally and domestically. And I call them insurrectionists. I say Antifa insurrectionists because that's exactly what they're paid to do, is to conduct insurrection operations within the country. And if they're doing that internationally and they're going to get that designation, certainly that's something that an indication of how serious the seriousness of the threat that is posed by those individuals that are part of that confederation of organizations to the country. So I think that certainly is an interesting development, and it will, as you said, give our law enforcement and I'm assuming our military and our diplomatic corps more leeway in how they interact with those groups and individuals associated with those groups.
Yeah, you have to imagine the violence at Berkeley University earlier this week was probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there should be no quarter given to that. Again, if you're going to interfere with the enforcement of the law enforcement, if you're going to, for example, if you have people who are conducting, if ICE vehicles are driving through your city and you're throwing, if you're throwing rocks or Molotov cocktails or anything like that at them, then hey, all bets are off. There's one thing about peaceful protesting, and again, I'm all for our First Amendment. If you want to express yourself peacefully in protesting and expressing your displeasure at whatever you want to express in a peaceful, orderly manner, then so be it. But when you cross the line into that insurrectionist activity, and that's what we saw outside of a lot of these ICE facilities, then you should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, of course.
Michael O'Neill joining the program right now. So we also saw judges taking action. They had a ton of headlines around the payment of SNAP benefits the last couple of years.
Yeah. Right, yeah, that represents one of the more egregious, I think, instances of judicial activism. There's a couple that really stand out in my mind, and that's certainly one of them. And what you're seeing there is this is a political issue, right? This wasn't illegal. We can separate political and legal. Now, this is a political dispute. This was Congress that was not coming to an agreement to pass the continuing resolution, right? They were hung up on funding the government, and that is a core Article 1 role of Congress. It's not the role for the judiciary to determine how government spends the taxpayers' money. The Congress allocates taxpayers' money. It's Congress's role. That is their fundamental purpose, to determine how they're going to appropriate our funds, taxpayer funds, to however they're going to appropriate it. And if they're hung up on a political dispute, in other words, they can't pass a continuing resolution, it is not the role of an Article 3 judge, particularly an inferior court Article 3 judge, if I'm a district court judge, to jump into the political fray and somehow determine that they're going to wield some sort of specious power compelling an executive agency, in this case the Department of Agriculture, to somehow spend money that hasn't been properly appropriated to the Department of Agriculture. I mean, think about what I just said to you, Joel. Like, how much that makes your head spin when you're talking about separation of powers. A lot of time I talk about, spend a lot of my time talking about separation of powers. In each one of these respective branches of our government, staying within their constitutional lane. When I just recited to you what I recited to you, my head explodes thinking that some judge should determine how money that hasn't even been appropriated in the political fund should go out. And of course, what happened was the Supreme Court decided that hey, we look at it. It got us to the Supreme Court fair. They did that, and the Supreme Court just kind of sat on it, leading to the understanding that this issue is going to be rooted out because the government is going to be reopened. But again, you rightly made a great point, Gerald, that the fantastic point that this represents a particularly egregious example of the lengths to which these judges are going to go to try to effectuate a policy where they have no authority to get involved in it at all. Staff benefits is certainly one. The other one I really springs to mind is that Planned Parenthood case that we're talking about, where the judge issued the Department of Health and Human Services to return funding to Planned Parenthood. That's another kind of proof of judicial overreach.
Yeah, because that came out of Visions of a Big Beautiful Bill, correct?
Yeah, exactly. This is a provision. Again, this is a law. This is an appropriations law passed by Congress. Big beautiful bill. Congress expressed the will of the people that said we don't want to have federal funds going to pay for elective abortions in Medicaid facilities, use Medicaid funds to support elective abortions in these entities that are designated and receive $800,000, $800,000 with some conditions they place on it. So essentially, they were the bottom line thing with the funding Planned Parenthood. That was a legitimate exercise of congressional power, and what we saw that.
What did I do? Really, what the fuck did I do?
You're like getting mad at me.
No, I'm not. I'm working, and I'm trying to fucking deal with the fucking DoorDash app and answer you at the same time and being respectful. But yeah, I'm getting irritated.
Why?
Because I've answered you with honest answers to your ridiculous questions.
My ridiculous questions?
Well, yeah, some of them have been ridiculous. Yes.
Like what?
I can't pull it up now because I'm talking to you. But come on, okay. I've been honest with you about everything I've done tonight. I haven't had a fucking drink. I didn't have a beer. I ate. I had fucking iced tea. Ask Bill. Call Bill right now and ask him if Doc had anything to drink tonight. Honestly, do it right now without me calling ahead.
No.
Babe, I worked all morning remotely. I set up for them to come pick me up because I didn't want to have to leave the rental there. They came and picked me up. I took care of the paperwork. I went there. I went and got my Yellowstone sunglasses because even though they weren't that expensive, they meant a lot to me from the dealership because the car's already been towed away from there, but they saved them for me. Picked them up and went straight there. Listen, I got connections for an attorney that I'm talking to tomorrow morning. Babe, I'm not doing anything wrong.
I didn't say you were.
But I'm sorry, I'm not checking in with you constantly. You know, you can see where I'm at, and I know you can see where I'm at. If you have questions, ask them while I'm doing it, and I've been answering you. I've not ignored you for hours. Have I?
No, I just haven't heard from you, and you didn't tell me.
Because I'm not checking in every fucking hour? Is that what this is?
I didn't say that.
No, you're not saying it, but that's what it is. That's what this is boiling down to.
I gotta go.
No, you don't. You need to fucking not do this shit anymore. Are you feeling guilty about something?
No.
Then why the fuck would you be doing this?
Because I'm fucking worried about you.
For what? I mean, why?
For what? Because if you sit at a bar long enough, you're gonna fucking drink again.
Not if I
You're gonna get
don't.
fucked
Not
up.
if I decide not to drink. No, I can do that. I've done it before. I've done it many times, and it felt good tonight. Because I get to see people being stupid all around me, and I was just like, wow, that could probably be me. Hey, I'm good. I want you to trust me, please. I mean, if you can't trust me, there's going to be some issues. Seriously, when I tell you I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to drink. If I tell you I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to have a drink. Okay?
Okay.
Please.
I didn't even know you were going to the bar tonight. I didn't even know that
I
you were
go
DoorDashing.
every Thursday, and especially this week because I had to speak to them because the SBA website opened up and I had to speak to Simon. I had to put in all the information, and we put out our feeler for lenders.
Okay, I didn't know any of that.
Well, because you don't talk to me.
Are you kidding?
You all day long, you didn't even send a message to me, did you?
Yeah, I did talk to you a little bit this morning, but you didn't say a fucking word.
Because I didn't know exactly when things were going to happen. I didn't know exactly when I was going to meet to pick up the truck. But I worked it out in the morning.
You told me, Denny.
So I need to report to you. I got it now. I need to report to you everything I need to do. I got it. Hang up on me, you fucking cunt.
That decision was appealed by the Trump administration to stay. Oral arguments were actually held at the next level, the preliminary injunction level, yesterday. And from what I understand, the oral arguments from the first circuit was again circuit court, the district or circuit court hearing this appeal expressed extreme skepticism, serious skepticism about the truth of the conclusion of this constitutional debate. And in other words, the judge again had gone beyond that particular authority, making the conclusion that somehow ordering the Department of Health and Human Services again, ordering them to return funding to Planned Parenthood. So these examples are just, if you take me through for you, hypothetically speaking, positive and hypothetical, that would have been like, no way, that could never happen. But yeah, it's and thankfully, as these cases migrate, these more egregious cases migrate up to the courts and the circuit court, when they get to the Supreme Court on these emergency cases, you're seeing the rule of law really prevailing, respect for separation of powers, that prevailing under the system program.
The Supreme Court had a decision, basically, overruling a lot of decisions that those judges are doing. And despite that, we're still seeing it. I mean, are there any other measures that the Supreme Court can take? What is the role of state legislatures censoring the judges?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, first of all, you're seeing the process kind of play out in real time as we listen. One of the unfortunate takeaways is the extent to which the Department of Justice is having to expend its resources on whack-a-mole cases and many cases at all. And keep in mind, they are playing by the rules. I mean, they're less than like to kind of say, the Trump administration is disregarding judges' orders, and they're not having to respect the rule of law. Well, even when these judges are off base, the Trump administration is doing its best to comply with the orders and then go through the requisite appellate process. So that's just the going on, giving emergency relief, like that, certain court and court where appropriate. So you're seeing that process. That's one element. The other avenue, of course, is you want to see increasingly stronger language from the Supreme Court admonishing these judges to kind of stay in their lane. And you see, I guess, some increase. You see some, glimpses of the current pull back a little bit. We're seeing some frustration from some of the Supreme Court justices, essentially saying, "Hey, get in order, get your house in order here," or we're going to have to dial up the rhetoric. Now, you see some stronger language in some of these that we already knew.
Yeah, I was not doing well with the wife.
Even Justice Jackson, I think it really was that. I think even she had stayed back. So even the most liberal of the
fucking bitch, dude.
So you are seeing some increasing rhetoric there. Obviously, Congress does have a role here to play. If the judiciary doesn't keep the House in order, Congress has a role. They do retain jurisdiction statutes. Keep in mind all the district courts that we talked about are inferior courts under our constitutional structure, and their jurisdiction is established by Congress. So Congress does have some power over them. Furthermore, there are these cases. I mean, there is one case right now where a judge is being impeached. Now, he's not being impeached because of the lawfare cases. He's being impeached because of the he approved a lot of wiretaps in that project, in that Arctic block investigation.
I appreciate it, man. I just fucking
by former special counsel Jack Smith. But there is the impeachment avenue if it becomes particularly egregious, and then there's the curbing of their authority by
statute. I hate it when you're doing the right thing and fucking people want to fucking push you down.
I do think right now what we're seeing is that the extent to which the Trump administration is
busting my ass.
Of the circuit and the Supreme Court. They're fighting those battles as they go on. And they're essentially winning the battles that they really want to do. And I think that right now that seems to be enough for the administration.
Michael, before I let you go, where
the fuck is this place?
The Senator in the Senate.
Holiday Inn Suites.
Where are they on getting
quality
Trump-appointed judges through? I know Mitch McConnell is on
there it is. Okay.
During Trump's first term, but as we're about 10 months in, what's the scorecard there?
Right, I don't even know where the door is.
It's interesting. There are not as many vacancies right now as there were in the first term and in the Biden term. So as I said before, remember, the Biden administration did a fairly good job getting a lot of their judges to the lower levels. So there just aren't a lot of vacancies. And I think there is some institutional kind of stagnation on the part of some of these judges at the circuit and district court level. Again, keep in mind that a lot of them have maybe some antagonism because the Trump administration is not facing. So to the extent to which there's vacancies, the Trump administration is pushing through. But the numbers just aren't there because the vacancies aren't there. Remember, there's a certain number of spots until the judge retires or leaves, then you can't fill that spot. There's just not as many vacancies right now. So there are fewer judges this term than in but I know that the administration has prioritized it to the extent to which a vacancy comes open, they are putting good people in those positions. So you can count on the fact that a couple of judges, spring to mind at the appellate level, have been put in the past 11 months. They're really strong constitutionalists, strong originalists who are going to really uphold the rule of law. But not as many as the first Trump administration. There's not as many. Or the simple fact that there's just not as many vacancies.
That's what I figured. But you're 10 times smarter than me, and so I asked you. I really
no, I don't go that far.
I thoroughly enjoyed this because I took one law class at Florida State University and almost got kicked out. So anytime I get to talk to a big law brain, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Oh, no, thanks. It's so nice of you, Jerome. And yeah, go out to see that. Yeah, you guys, that's a great school.
Thank you, Mike.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. No, this was enlightening. Hopefully it was for you guys. I knew that the shutdown had affected some scheduling when it came to these lower courts, but to the extent that lawfare was still going on. I mean, if you would have asked me, I would have certainly mentioned the SNAP benefits case. That judge in that ruling made news. That was news for 2 or 3 days, if not more. But when it came to these other cases, pretty eye-opening, but certainly not surprising. I mean, the forces and the pushback that President Trump and his administration are having to deal with here on just about every issue, it's stunning. And left, they're a rabid animal. They're wounded. Maybe they've never really been as weak politically speaking. And so they're pulling out all the stops. Sure. And I guess, like I said, they're just sort of biding time. They're just trying to get to November and create an environment of chaos along the way. 866-957-2874. We got a wide open hour here, so plenty of time for calls We'd love to get you in and to join the program. This is Stacy on the Right. We'll take a break here and be right back.
Conservative principles live here.
We believe that capitalism is the single best engine, the single best opportunity for anybody to be successful. We believe in moral order. We believe in equal justice under the law, equal application of our laws. We believe in free markets, human dignity, and the list goes on and on.
The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot, Channel 125, and on the SiriusXM app.
When you're a business owner, every second of your time is incredibly valuable, so don't waste your energy and risk losing money dealing with time-sucking payroll issues, office politics, and HR infractions. Focus on what matters most, running your business, with help from Bambi. Bambi gives you access to your very own dedicated HR manager at a fraction of what it costs to employ someone full-time. Bambi costs just $29 a month, whether you have 10, 75, or even 100 employees. Forget about onboarding new employees and terminating underperforming ones. With Bambi, your dedicated HR team will handle all of that for you. Your dedicated HR manager is always available by phone, text, or online. No downtime, no excuses, no BS, just dedicated HR support whenever you need it. Right now, get 1 month of Bambi for just $1. Go to Bambi.com, type Stacy under radio.
Well, that went crazy. I'm sorry. You guys, I should have muted that. I didn't think that was going to devolve to that. The wave.
Stacy Radio.
Things haven't been great, so obviously.
The first mistake is not having an emergency food supply to begin with. The second mistake is buying an emergency food supply, but not having a way to cook the meals in an emergency. That's why My Patriot Supply created the Black Friday Survival Special. It comes with the 4-week food supply, plus $150 worth of free gifts, including everything you need to prepare your emergency meals, like a cook stove, fuel, fire starters, plus a water purifier, bug out bag, and more. It's the complete survival kit your family needs to run.
I'm going to mute. All right, we're back. I don't know if anyone's here still. Probably lost everybody.
With all the uncertainty in the world, disaster preparedness is more important than ever. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and get prepared today. That's mypatriotsupply.com. If you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. The Mr. Baldwin Podcast. Real people come face to face with real life monsters. All you wanted to do was communicate with the devil, and his apartment was searched. A house of horrors is revealed. Whatever they had seen was not something they were going to joke about. Its prom date turned out to be Jeffrey Dahmer of Mr. Baldwin Podcast. True stories of the bizarre, chilling, and unexplained. Available on the SiriusXM app. 866-957-2874. You're listening to season 1 of SiriusXM Patreon 125. Welcome back to the program. 866-957-2874. We've reached that part in the program where I get to talk about my favorite headlines of the day. And these all come from Breitbart.com. And so, if you are not making Breitbart, this is going to be part of your healthier, your everyday news diet. You're missing out. You really are missing out. Executives at General Motors are directing their part suppliers to get out of China. Yet another victory. President Donald Trump's fierce tariff agenda. This by Breitbart to John Bender. On Wednesday, sources close to GM told Reuters the automaker is looking to move its auto parts supply chain out of China entirely. Reuters report went on to say General Motors has directed several thousand of its suppliers to scrub their supply chains of parts from China before people familiar with the matter said, reflecting automakers' growing frustration with geopolitical disruptions to their operations. GM executives have been telling suppliers they should find alternatives to China for their raw materials and parts with the goal of eventually moving their supply chain out of the country entirely, people said. More sources is pretty good. I think, and I never went to journalism school, but Florida State didn't have the journalism school. I had some family who did. Because I marched in the family debate, I had had enough of the HBC experience. Four sources is a lot of sources for the story. So GM has set a 2027 deadline for some suppliers to dissolve their China sourcing ties. Those sources told Reuters. This is massive. It was always understood by people who were willing to be intellectually honest about what President Trump's end goals were when it came to implementing these tariffs. It was always going to be a long-term plan, longitudinal outlook. Again, anyone who was sober-minded and honest about it, this stuff wasn't going to happen overnight. And the experts on the business side, economists, in government, out of government, any honest person who will talk about this told you that. Any person who happened to be in a position of power at a company affected by President Trump's tariffs, well, they had a few options. They could, wholeheartedly agree and see down the same road that the president was seeing down. The status quo was hurting American companies, and some of those titans of industry actually pushed back. Ironically, one of them was the CEO of General Motors, Mary Burrow. She spent the last year basically publicly pushing back on President Trump's tariffs and the goals that he had in mind when he implemented.
One item from fire.
John Bender says last year, Barrow said that despite the continued quarterly losses in China, GM was
was going to remain.
Well, we didn't go to Reds. We were meeting somewhere else to discuss. Now that the website's open, oh shit, train's coming. We need to get across these tracks, guys. Go, go, go! Discussing which lenders we're using for the business loans. And we now that the Small Business Administration website's open, we've got our lender thing sent out. We got to stop at Myers and grab something here. I'm doing door dashing. I've already done two deliveries.
Had the time to mature Trump's tariff policies in this come to fruition.
Sorry.
If the naysayers have their way. Good on Trump. We'd love to see it.
Whole issue with the wife. She was freaked out because I didn't come home when she thought I should. It's all good. We'll be all right. Yeah, silos.
This is massive also because just the size and scope of business that General Motors does in China. It's an iceberg in that sense. Let's see. Boy, there's some stutters in here.
Yeah, I should have had it muted. I thought I did, but it wasn't. We both apologize to each other. We're good.
Holding up the National Guard.
Really wish I didn't broadcast that.
Federal authorities. That's inside the country. There's obviously.
She's just worried about me because I've been drinking too much, or had been drinking too much. I'm not anymore.
Being smuggled inside the country.
Everything's good.
Going up these drug smugglers.
It's all good.
This is about, and I have to know, thanks to the big beautiful bill, that there's some more funding that is focused on the coastal apparatus of keeping not only the country, the borders safe, but just keeping illicit drugs and weapons out of the country. So Panamanian authorities have announced that they have arrested 10 people
everybody snaps
and seized 13.2 tons of drugs from the U.S. bound ferry in the Pacific.
It's going to disconnect while I run in there.
Monday.
Jesus
I
Christ.
believe this is also
Fucking
John Bender. Prosecutor Julio Valeria.
I'm gonna leave you guys listening to Stacy on the right.
Telling reporters on Tuesday that the 13 tons.
Be right back.
Were, quote,
yeah, please go back over to Rumble. I'll be right back.
That is from a report from CBS News. So the Panamanian prosecutor's office shared several photos of the alleged drugs in their social media posts, adding that the total of 11,562 drug packages were seized. 13 tons of cocaine headed for a neighborhood near you, or at least they were. Oh man, it's amazing. So I love this, and the last time I saw Chip Roy was, I think it was last summer in Washington, D.C. I'm an alumni of Young America's Foundation, and we spent about 3 days there, hundreds of college conservative student activists, and Chip Roy gave a really interesting speech. But before he did, I was one of the Breitbart editors sitting down and hanging out with Chip Roy before we conducted an interview with him. The guy is a serious lawmaker, and he really seems like he's one of the good ones. And it looks like he's got a pretty good idea here, and it's super relevant to the current news cycle when it comes to the H-1B program, all of the corruption that goes along with it, and perhaps the curtailing of the H-1B visa program. The Texas Congressman Chip Roy on Wednesday said he would introduce legislation that would freeze chain migration and other visa programs into the country and tackle mass migration. So Chip Roy joined Benny Johnson, the conservative firebrand, this week. Roy said, mass migration, quote, we're dealing with a mass community that's growing up that has no desire to assimilate and come here to become American, embrace Western civilization, embrace our Constitution, embrace our values. We've allowed the corporatists to define our national policy. Benny Johnson brought up the fact that one of Charlie Kirk's last policy tweets was about how we need to dismantle, obviously, illegal immigration, but also the legal immigration apparatus in America. Charlie Kirk on August 14th tweeted, "This is the social compact breaking down. We need urgency to restore it." His tweet included a chart that shows the estimated percentage of 30-year-olds who are both married and are homeowners from 1950 to 1925 falling off a cliff. The number went from 1950 about just over 50% of 30-year-olds being married and homeowners to, in the middle of 2025, that number dipping below 15%, falling off a cliff. Charlie Kirk's tweet goes on to say, number one, mass deportations has to end. Number two, stop the H-1B scam. Number three, dramatically reduce legal immigration. Number four, end chain migration and the visa lottery. Number five, build 10 million homes for Americans. And number six, crush the college cartel. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Benny Johnson brought this tweet up to Congressman Chip Roy, to which the congressman said, quote, we're dealing with the cultural problem about who we are as Americans. He went on to say that 51 million people in this country are foreign born. So yes, in the H-1B system, I've got a bill that I will introduce this week or next, Chip Roy said, that is going to put a freeze on all immigration until we achieve certain objectives. I know that there is a civil war in the White House right now over the myriad visa programs, because there are a lot of them. But particularly the H-1B visa program. Neil Monroe of Breitbart.com has a great article titled "Trump Advisors Deputy Spar Over H-1B Visa Program." Hopefully the people who want to freeze these visa programs and just freeze legal immigration right now, hopefully those people win out. But there's a lot of lobbyists, there's a lot of money, and there certainly is a lot of influence around these visa programs. India, China, Silicon Valley, I mean, you're talking about the deepest of the deep-pocketed people who benefit from these programs. They get to hire the cheap labor. There are hiring companies that basically find Asian labor, whether it's companies like Cisco, just hundreds of companies. They rely on this handful of hiring firms that specialize in hiring Asian labor and hiring in U.S. firms to replace oftentimes U.S.-born labor. You pay these people cheaper, they pay fewer taxes on them, and in the end, the bottom line, the corporations, they make more money, obviously. And to add insult to injury, of course, maybe you don't, and often it is the case that the foreign-born labor who is hired to replace the U.S. worker.
So I guess people are getting their SNAP payments because people are like flooding in there.
Insult to okay, I have to take a break. One more, I do believe. Gotta pay the bills. 866-957-2874 on the other side.
Oh, that's cool. Good question. There's
Stunning audio. So excited.
Eggsy.
Just can't wait. But I'll tease it there.
Give Trump those hard questions. I love it. Now I got to grab some Wingstop. My second Wingstop order now.
Bill Clinton tried to reform welfare. He said, "We need to sense hard work in our fellow citizens." That comes from RFK in 1968. And RFK called it 60 years ago.
All right.
Break it down.
We're back.
Breitbart News Daily, weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
The ACA Marketplace health insurance plans are increasing as much as 40%, with deductibles climbing over $10,000. Health Revolution can offer better coverage and save you 30 to 60% while using any doctor with zero outpatient deductibles. There is no income disclosure, so no surprise tax bills either. Call Health Revolution at 800-868-6187. That's 800-868-6187. Or go to healthrevolution.net. Healthrevolution.net and start saving today.
Tired of paying for channels you don't watch? Well, a new Select package by Sling gives you a curated lineup of live and on-demand TV you actually want, with channels like Fox News, NFL Network, FX, and more, starting at $19.99 a month. There's even some 4K content. And in select markets, subscribers get local broadcast networks too. No long-term contract, no hassle. Just the live TV you love. Sling lets you do that. Visit sling.com to learn more. Restrictions apply.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-611-8892. 800-611-8892. 800-611-8892. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Do you suffer from aches and pains? Meet our Tempur-Pedic Adapt mattress, featuring the most advanced, infinitely adaptable Tempur material ever to ease your pressure points in a way no other mattress can and help make those aches and pains a thing of the past. During our Tempur-Pedic Black Friday sale, save up to $500 on select adjustable mattress sets and $50 off select pillow sets. Shop now at TempurPedic.com. Select adjustable mattress sets only. Lesser savings may apply.
Personal responsibility. The rule of law. We are Sirius XM Patriot.
Channel 125.
Conservative principles live here.
Religiously American. This is Stacey on the Right on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
All right.
First break, Chris and I were talking about, well, I
Getting in the suck to drop this fucking shit off.
He asked me what my favorite was. In this break, we were talking about Texas. From Texas. Well, you know, I asked him if he was football.
All right, let's go.
Not really. But speaking of Texas, I don't know. My favorite congresswoman, I guess Jasmine Crockett, the Texas Democrat. She joined CNN, and the question of Jasmine Crockett's political future came. And here is what she had to say.
While you're here, I also want to ask you about some of the other political stories that have been unfolding on the Hill. Obviously, the longest government shutdown in history recently. And there has been a lot of criticism of the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer from fellow members of yours in the House of Representatives from the progressive base. Chuck Schumer has defended himself in part by saying over the months that he knows how to win elections. Do you think that Chuck Schumer still knows how to win elections?
I know nothing about his strategies on winning elections. That is for sure.
You're thinking about running for Senate yourself.
I am absolutely thinking about running for Senate, and I'm hoping to have an answer within my inner circle, probably within the next week and a half or so. But I will tell you this. I will tell you that I completely understand those that are disappointed. I will tell you that on November 4th, we won in places that we weren't supposed to win in, whether we're looking at Georgia or whether we're looking at Mississippi, or whether we're looking at different parts of Virginia, where now we're going to end up having a supermajority in the House, or in the Commonwealth in the House. I will tell you this. I will tell you that ultimately the decision about who is best to lead the Senate comes from the Senate. It's only the senators that get to make that decision. They are the ones with information that we don't have. I don't know if there's someone that can fundraise stronger than Chuck Schumer. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know what all Chuck does when it comes to making sure that we have the best chances with the Senate map that we're given in any given election cycle. And I trust.
Oh, I agree.
To decide on who.
Dude, but it's scary that she's talking about running for the Senate, dude. She is a horrible congressperson. And she's thinking about running. So is AOC. She wants to take his spot.
I am waiting on those results.
It's scary, man.
Only poll that I've put out to be able to kind of understand where I really am.
There's a lot of scary going on, I'll tell you that.
So basically you're polling yourself to try to make a decision about what you should do.
I am. I'm polling to determine whether or not I can expand.
Basically, you're polling yourself. She was straight with her.
I can tell you for sure, 100%, that I will not run.
I love every second of that. I want Jasmine Crockett to run for United States Senate in Texas so bad. I pray for it. Because if I pray for it, if she does it, and she actually wins, she'd be taking on Ted Cruz, I believe. Ted Cruz has defeated not one, but two Democrats who weren't smart enough to realize that their political ceiling was where they were. Wendy Davis, I know, a blast from the past. Some of you may still have those pink sneakers burned into your psyche. But Wendy Davis was the attorney, business owner, Senate member of the Texas Senate who ran for senator for about a decade, just over a decade ago.
Oh, very much so.
And this woman fabricated her story.
Catastrophic dumb. But let him run. That's what he said. Basically, what he's saying. This is a black guy talking too on the radio. He's covering for Stacey on the right.
But Wendy Davis didn't know what she didn't know, and she ran for Senate and took a lot of resources away from other campaigns on the Democrat side during that cycle who probably had a realistic chance. This woman went on to be blown out. The same thing happened to Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, who was a congressman from El Paso area, I believe. And his ego was, I don't know, the moon size larger than Wendy Davis. Beto's was.
No, I think she's going to run. She's going to go head to head with Newsom. She's going to run for president again. Because of those votes she did get or supposedly got. I only ran for 3 months and look how many votes I got. She's going to run again. Her head,
Houston area. She endorsed.
She thinks she can win.
In 2018.
And you know what? Unless the fucking Republicans start doing something right, she may have a chance. That's how crazy it is.
And so here is Jasmine Crockett. Again, she hasn't announced, but she's saying all the right things, all the things you might expect her to say for a person who just doesn't know what she doesn't know. I see there's a lot in Florida. The political ceiling for a lot of Democrats is not very high. Oftentimes, it's not really higher than the United States Congress. But it can't stop them. The worst thing for Jasmine Crockett is that she gets embarrassed on the debate stage, standing across from Ted Cruz. That is very likely. I don't know if it gets that far, but it's certainly plausible. Other than that, I mean, Jasmine Crockett would have national appeal far beyond what she actually has now, because her running for Texas Senate, the Republicans, everyone inside the DCC, everyone on the Democrat Senate campaign committee side, they will all drink the same Space Jam juice that they drink seemingly every 4 or 5 years when a Democrat gets the bright idea to run for Senate in Texas. It amazes me, and Wendy Davis was fun. I guess we've never really seen it before. The national media rallying behind this fabulist of a woman. And then, she gets trounced. And it happened again with Beto O'Rourke. And, he was even smelling his own farts thinking he could win. It was incredible to watch. And Ted Cruz,
who requested to leave the order at their door. They added the following instructions. Leave at door.
Right. I'll leave at the door.
Is sincere about a lot of these issues. That has a good relationship, obviously, with Sirius and Breitbart News. We disagree with Ted Cruz sometimes. We don't think we get everything right. But we got some pretty smart people in the political shop. But, again, it's just magic to see the Democrats and Democrat media coalesce around these Cinderella politicians in these campaigns that just end up burning tens of millions of dollars. I think the latest, greatest example of this is Jamie Harrison. I think it's his name, Jamie. Yeah, I think it's Jamie Harrison in South Carolina. I think he was in the state legislature, and he ran against Senator Lindsey Graham, and he raised $100 million to lose. It was incredible, and the Democrats rewarded him by making him the chair of the DNC. it's nuts. Every time it happens, I'm amazed by it, and so I don't know if Jasmine Crockett will run for Senate in Texas. I am going to pray to God that she does. I pray to God that she does. I'm going to do that because it will be good for the country. Because any resources or money or energy,
now let her run, man.
Power is wasted on Jasmine Crockett trying to take on Ted Cruz in Texas. It's just brain power, resources, man hours, money, not sent to Georgia, right, or Maine, or any other state that will have a close contest where we want to see Republicans win. This story caught my eye earlier today as I was prepping for the show, and it never ceases to amaze. So you have the St. Paul, Minnesota pass a quote assault weapons ban, quote, on November 12th. Just a couple days, fresh story. But the mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota, a guy by the name of Melvin Carter, Democrat, of course, admitted that the new assault weapon ban, can't actually be enforced because a state preemption law prohibits the city from enacting such a gun ban. So why do it? Why would the city go ahead and go through with it anyway? It's all performative. And so much of the gun restrictive laws and measures that come from Democrats.
Right. Back.
Anyway, A.W.R. Hawkins, the award-winning Second Amendment reporter at Breitbart News, reporting. So Fox 9, a local St. Paul outlet, pointed out that the St. Paul City Council passed the ban unanimously. KSTP reported that the Mayor Carter commented on the passage of the ban, painting it as something that can be ready to be enforced if the state preemptive law is changed. Okay. He said St. Paul stands ready to act on day one when the state lifts its preemption. So apparently there's a big problem with assault weapons in St. Paul, Minnesota. When you look at the crime statistics, they paint a different picture, though. But this completely performative law, if enforced, although it is unenforceable, would ban possession of assault weapons and large capacity binary triggers within city limits and prohibit so-called ghost
probably going to pick
guns,
it up in order real quick. So
serial numbers that restrict firearms in sensitive public spaces such as parks, libraries, recreational centers, and city buildings. This is a mayor and a group of idiots on that city council just trying to make all of St. Paul, Minnesota a soft target. That's all it would do. That's all it would do. These people, I bet you this mayor has private security. I'm gonna bet it. The Democrats of blue crap hole cities usually. Thank Lori Light. 866
Good headlights. Yeah, one's good, one's foggy as hell.
In the books. We'll take a break here and be right back. Affected by the government shutdown? Worried about funding? Delta Capital Group can fund your business today. Get fast working capital to cover payroll, equipment, or expenses. Often approved in as little as 30 minutes. We're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by businesses nationwide. Call 855-444-CASH. That's 855-444-CASH. Or apply now at deltacap.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. Quo lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you can deliver a seamless customer experience.
I'm going to stick around here until I decide I'm too tired. I got up early this morning, so I'm not going to last too much longer. But
so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With Quo's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions and use those insights to level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with Quo. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/patriots. That's quo.com/patriots.
we'll be doing the football broadcast on Sunday again. The Lions are a late game too, so we should have a nice crowd. Only out of the 3 ad reads I did last weekend, I only got approval on one of them. So apparently I got to make up 4 now. So I got to do at least 2 more streams. You can only do 3 per stream. That's okay. Yeah, I've been running my butt off today. That's okay. That's what I do. Not gonna argue with you there, buddy. I've been hustling.
Federal workers should be getting their back pay very soon.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people just got their scan already today or SNAP, because you should see the crowd there at both Kroger and Meijer.
TSA workers,
the late night
and
crowds.
Controllers have been forced to work without paychecks during the shutdown. Meanwhile,
when do you think yours is gonna hit?
SNAP food aid payments and air travel back to normal. That is White House correspondent Greg Clugston, and a quick update. State officials are working now to restore full SNAP benefits to millions of Americans by tomorrow. The strike against Starbucks apparently growing.
Starbucks workers at 65 stores are on strike. It's happening on busy Red Cup
I'm
Day.
sorry, I don't agree with this shit.
Given to customers who buy a holiday drink. The strike has forced some Starbucks to close. Sylvia Baldwin is a barista in Philadelphia.
We're calling for the company to come back.
Do you get a text or anything when it hits, or do you got to check it? Call in and check it, or do you have an app to log in and check it?
Lack of the hours we
it's been a long time. I've taken SNAP before, so I'm not too good to say I've never done it, because I've needed it.
On Wall Street, stock
I had needed it for a couple months, but I needed it.
Since the spring
I was grateful to get it too.
S&P 500 sank 1.7% and pulled further from its all-time high set last month. Meanwhile, Dow Jones Industrial Average also dropped 1.7% from its own record set the day before. NASDAQ Composite lost 2.3%. If you are saving for a rainy day, well, Americans will be allowed to contribute more money to their 401k and other retirement saving plans beginning next year. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Maybe this is you too. People are enormously frustrated with the cost of healthcare right now.
There is an option. Hundreds of thousands of people have gone with no
toll-free number.
They like it more,
and you have to punch in that your whole account number.
To apply before November 15th, and they will waive your application fee. It's $100.
That's how it was when I had it. So yeah, it hasn't changed. You would think it would be updated. There'd be like an app or something. So you'd be able to pay for it, or with your phone or something. Oh shit! Okay, dude. Just back right up into my shit. I did.
See premiums going up and up. This is a great time to take advantage of this offer. Just tell them the promo code SHARE and save.
I'm about to just make an order and go home.
844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41.
Probably gonna grab something from Sheets before I go home. So we'll see.
Experts say many Americans are taking on additional jobs. Here's Bill Alexander. As workers face frozen salaries, inflation, and fear of layoffs, some have decided to branch out. According to one University of North Carolina study, they're taking on side jobs to bring in additional income. Some are drawn to the side job because of instability in their workplace or the perception that they may lose their income. Others are just reluctant to trust one employer to provide a steady job that will last. Some scary moments in the Sooner State. A tanker truck spewing hazardous gas in an Oklahoma hotel parking lot forced guests and hundreds of residents to evacuate early Thursday. Authorities say dozens of people were treated after being overcome by fumes. Some were flown to hospitals in Oklahoma City. The anhydrous ammonia leak happened late Wednesday.
Hey, Mitty. Oh, they charge you for the app? That's crazy. You getting ready to go on the road?
Welcome back to Stacy on the Right, hour number 3. Jerome Hudson, Breitbart News, Entertainment. For the here on a Thursday. Join the program now. David Cancillo, conservative columnist, co-author of Gabriel Love, Bound by Law. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so very much for having me.
So this is not terribly shocking, considering that it is California, but the California Department of Motor Vehicles admitted to illegally issuing 17,000 commercial driver's licenses to foreign nationals who are not legally eligible to open. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced Tuesday. Break this down for us, David. I mean, 17,000 commercial driver's licenses. That's a lot. So, if that's a mistake, that's
good to hear it, brother. Good to hear it. I'll be going off, so I'll be sending Eggsy over to you.
I think that you and I kind of both know that California hasn't really been doing the right things for a while. So this is 17,000.
The Detroit Lions have played on Thanksgiving Day every year since 1934, except for during World War II.
Perhaps look not obvious enough, if you know what I mean. And I just don't think that anyone is surprised at this point that this has happened. And I think that you and I can both agree that if we're not surprised about this, it's clearly because we've known about California having these issues for a while.
California can't be the only state, and I just imagine that, like most situations in which you have Donald Trump's deputies, Sean Duffy went to California because it is one of it's true fish in a barrel. Gavin Newsom in that state for decades they've been egregious on just about every single facet.
Yeah, we're about to call it.
And so I think you go right where
I'm going to end it. Stream.
I love the tenacity because according to his office, Newsom and the California officials spent weeks claiming that they had actually done wrong. When it comes to find out, you search the system and find out they did something wrong 17,000 times.
I mean, again, I just don't think that it's not really a surprise anymore. I mean, how many times do you think you and I can sit here and talk about the times that Gavin Newsom has, cried wolf, if you will, and said, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that, or we're doing the right thing, or whatever. It's just nobody believes it, right? The problem is that he's a politician that has remained in power, despite the fact that at this point, it's probably much for me to say, but he kind of has a bit of a reputation of a pathological liar. So, at this point, why are we surprised? The real question will be, what will be the reprimand from the federal government? What will happen to him?
Dude, that's a chomo. Okay, whatever. I mean, same thing. He's an SO.
We're not in that kind of a country yet. How many people will probably lose their jobs for these? As you and I both know, they're not the same at this point. Right? It's hiding these people, it's approving them. But the question is, to what end? My real question is, to what end is Gavin Newsom, and really the way that a lot of these areas are run, primarily in states, to what end are they doing this? Why did some of the greatest locations that we have in our country, New York City, California, Seattle and Washington State, why did these places continue to attract these not so great and shady people? And why do people keep voting for them? I mean, it's probably the definition of insanity at this point. Why are people so interested in this and wanting to continue that horrendous way of life that has no accountability, no order, and no law?
I think you have a lot of these trucking companies operating unfortunately in shady ways, and it kind of creates a black market, if you will. And so states like California, you pointed out,
Dude, that's fucking sick shit, dude. I get it, man, but yeah, to me it's the same shit. SO, chomo, piece of shit. Throw him in the wood chipper. Throw him in the wood chipper.
so bad, it got Good Morning America covering, right? And so, um, yeah, the pull factors, I think, that's one of the things I love about the administration. Secretary Duffy is cracking down hard, right? These are state actors, probably breaking the law here. And I think your point is correct. It's not the road.
Yeah, well, I mean, and when I said how many people are going to lose their lives, please understand that was a slip of the tongue, I wasn't really insinuating that people. I meant to say that it was livelihood, but, I just, and that came out the wrong way. I don't want anyone on the radio to think that I'm, going to cut off anybody's head. It's certainly not the case. But,
yeah, truth does matter. You're right.
I think.
And I appreciate you correcting yourself too.
Is honestly, there's not really a level of accountability anymore. Everything is about the bottom dollar. There's less and less human dignity and humanity. And the reason why I say that is because, I understand what it might be if you're somebody who's come from Mexico. You're running away from the cartels because they decided to have a gang war in your neighborhood. You've risked your life to get out of there to come across the border and pray for a better life in America. Right? I'm not going to be ignorant to the fact that there are certainly people of that scenario. My own babysitter when I was a kid was granted asylum in the United States. She was a lady from Guatemala. Her family was brutally massacred with machetes because two rival gangs decided to go duke it out in her little pueblo. And the victor, which was a gang that was not from that area, went into, basically their family ranch house, if you could call it that, and killed everybody in the house, which was like 60 people, with machetes. She survived because she and her younger cousin crawled underneath the house and pulled their family members above them, to cover themselves from that. There are certainly people around the world, we look at the attacks in Nigeria now and in the Congo, et cetera, people being persecuted that have that, right? But when they come over here and they try to have these lives, it's one thing to try to help somebody like that. It's another thing to have repeated offense over and over and over again, 17,000 people. That would put people's lives at risk, just like you said. Horrific and horrendous accidents. And at that point, the question is, right, because you and I can both decipher from this that not every single person is going to have that unique story, right? We know that it went from being an occasional, hey, we helped somebody out because of this, to this is a systematic level of greed where we care less and less about the human being on the other side. And that's, in my opinion, the true crime here in America that's going on at the moment.
Where do you think the Secretary's office maybe goes next? Because, like I said, I feel like California was just maybe one of the more obvious examples. But this type of shady that's happening going on in other states, and I think this is the root cause, right? You root out the corruption. I'm pretty sure there's probably some stuff dealing when you look at our
Sure.
It's just envelopes full of cash, probably. But what do you think it goes next?
Well, chicken, what do you think, man? Now, I'm getting the Louisiana rub and a new flavor, fiery lime. So I'm going to get both of them. Look get me a Coca-Cola, too.
I'm sorry, blue state that has any large number of commercial enterprise, really.
What is it? 11:29 is the earliest, so one more minute and I'm going to walk in. At least get my cup.
Go to Washington, then focus in on Seattle. Basically, wherever ice is where I would go next.
Yeah. No, I love it. Gabriel, you got the book here, I see. Oh, man. It's just, sorry, I have flashbacks here as an author, 2 times over myself. Congratulations.
There you go.
Gabriel Locke, Bound by Law. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad and I are D and H Cancio, so I'm David and he's Umberto, our brother Umberto.
All right, let me go in. Be right back.
Actually, today is the 47th anniversary of his swearing in, which happened in 1978. And actually, earlier tonight, we were at the release of our second novel. We were at a local Barnes and Noble where we had a book signing and release. But anyway, the series covers this young lawyer, Gabriel Locke, in Miami in the 1980s. The series covers from 1981 all the way to 1991, and really the metamorphosis and change of Miami as a city, where it went from being this kind of sleepy town to being this massive metropolitan area, which is what we see nowadays. And it's everything about having all of these people that have come in from Central America, from the Caribbean, escaping these civil wars and communism in Cuba, and even the if you will, disruptions in Latin America, such as Argentina and Chile, etc. And it's about them really coming to Miami. This young lawyer, who is the son of an American father and a Spanish mother, practicing law with his father, handling these wonderful civil cases, and helping all of these people that are there not only to get through the difficulties of their own lives, like divorces or business negotiations, etc., but also really kind of giving you a bit of an not an echo chamber, excuse me, a better glimpse as to what Miami was like at that time. So you get an interesting perspective into how the legal system actually works through the eyes of this attorney, and you get a higher level of morality based on his Catholic faith that really forms the basis of his personality and the way he conducts business and himself. So that's kind of the series in a nutshell. The first book, Bound by Law, really focuses on Gabriel's first year practicing alongside his father, where he was previously a prosecutor, and now, him practicing civil law with his clients. It's much more about him understanding what it is to be the shield of the client, as opposed to, let's say the spear of the government, which he was as the prosecutor. And it gives you the interesting perspective of 7 different cases and him trying to juggle those while still maintaining his ethics and morals in a time that would have been very difficult to do so in Miami.
I love it. David, thank you so much for joining the program. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And God bless you. God bless your audience, and have a wonderful night.
God bless you. This is good. I'm putting this in Amazon card for Gabriel. My reading list did grow by about 4 or 5 books since the last time I was here, which I think was a week ago today. If memory serves. So no telling when I actually get. That's what holidays are for. Started earlier.
All right. We're out. We're calling it a fucking night. What are we looking at? He said he was going to go live in a couple hours. Maybe. What do you mean going low profile? He's been low profile. Cutting it off. I like how vertical doesn't allow everyone to see the signs around you, too. So it kind of really diminishes where you're at. I get it. Not sure why you're that concerned about it, but I'm sure there's reasons. People being weird again with you. I noticed you're getting fucking tons of views and likes, dude. You got a couple thousand views on one of those last drives. It's like, wow. Hell yeah, man. Good for you.
Often approved in as little as 30 minutes. We're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by businesses nationwide. Call 855-444-CASH.
Couple hundred likes, maybe 4 dislikes. I could see the dislikes on my laptop. Got an extension that shows the dislikes. Over 120 likes and then four down like, which is about normal. Yeah, that's nuts, man. I'm loving it for you, brother. I just hope YouTube pays you for it. I know YouTube's been paying more for shorts than they have been for long views anymore. A lot of the big time YouTube creators are becoming a little quite disgruntled with YouTube as far as their payouts. I know anything from YouTube is just a bonus, I'm sure.
I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at AbacusPace.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just
That's crazy, man. I don't understand why verticals get so much more. Because it's TikTok-y? I don't know. I mean, you can see the road better with the horizontal ones, but I get it. You know, the kids are determining the market, I guess. I bet a few shorts do that. It's just shorts don't pay shit though, because you got all these AI bots fucking chopping up movies and TV shows into fucking clips, filling it up with bullshit, not giving any royalties out. I'm surprised YouTube's allowing it, but then again, I'm not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. But how many times have you been? Well, I have. Just for having something playing in the background. You don't ever play shit in the background, so that's smart. But I've been demonetized in so many videos just because of what was playing on my radio or whatever in the background. Yeah. I thought it was a combination of different things. I didn't know that was a necessity for shorts.
As it always has.
I know YouTube took a serious hit since they lost Disney.
So this case was open under Joe Biden.
I have for my home TV, I have YouTube TV, and they just gave me a $20 rebate because I no longer have Disney or ABC or. Yeah, except for all the views you got before you fixed that are not monetized. I mean, I get it. I can clear it out too. I can erase the music in the background, but it's after. I mean, I'm not monetized on YouTube anyway. I don't know if I'm going to do it because I'm not doing the views I was. Basically, I'm only jumping on YouTube to pull people over to Rumble because Rumble's the only service that's actually sent me money every month. So.
$17,000. And then not 24 hours later, his former chief of staff is rolled up in a 23-count federal indictment. Almost $250,000. This woman allegedly tried to steal Fox News Digital.
I don't do a lot of uploading.
They said court documents.
When I'm recording at concerts or something like that.
As the
maybe if I ever do any cop watching again, I will. But
he was chief of staff.
I like to do cop watching live. When I've been out with Toe and them, they're always just recording, and I'm the only one that's live usually.
Secretary Javier Becerra. Wow. Becerra previously served as California Attorney General, where he was appointed to the health secretary position by former President Joe Biden. Man, I wonder how many public officials there are in this indictment. Public official one. Wow. Incredible stuff. And get them all. Just get them all. Roll them all. That's it. That's what we love to see. So I spent about 5 years working for Peter Schweitzer at his Government Accountability Institute, and I worked on a lot of research projects. And in that time, it's basically a crash doctoral course on corruption when it comes to the many federal bureaucracies and agencies and people who work in them. I think by and large, good people, but those bureaucrats who do rise to the ranks and rise to the ranks of leadership in a lot of federal agencies and state-run agencies. Something happens. I guess you slowly lose your soul. It just slips away bit by bit. And one such program that we definitely researched was the food stamps program. We basically found that about 2 or 3 multinational companies operate the food stamp program for each state. So one company basically has contracts with about 25 states and a territory or some such. And that one company operates the food stamp program for like 20 or so states. There are companies that have patents on the electronic credit card, and basically you had a situation in which every time someone slid an EBT card, the company with the patent to that electronic slip got a cut. I mean, a program devised decades ago to ostensibly be a bridge for people who were down on their luck and just didn't really have, say, family to turn to, friends to turn to, a faith community to turn to, needed food assistance. And it again was supposed to be a temporary bridge between them finding a job or finding a financial situation so that they wouldn't actually need subsidies to feed themselves and their family. And that boy has morphed into something else. And so, Brooke Rollins has come in and has made it clear that she is going to stamp out the corruption, at least in this program. She joined Pamela Brown on CNN this week and made that point very clear that there is a lot of corruption in the food stamps program. Again, a program that has been in the news now for at least the last week, thanks to the government shutdown. An unintended consequence of the Democrats' gambit there. You shine a lot of light on a program that a lot of people certainly are a little bit iffy about. There's only 42 million.
I'll admit sometimes I get caught. I fall into a hole of watching shorts, just flipping through them. Yeah, I see that too, man. What is that glow in the background? That red? You see that too?
Snap is a broken.
I was looking at that.
Snap is full of.
It's always off that direction too, whether I'm heading north or heading west. From outside of it, I don't know if it's a reflection from the airport to the right, because the airport is farther to the right. I'm not sure what's out there.
29 states we have found again almost 200,000 dead people. It's not.
I mean, how many United States Secretaries of Agriculture have we had since the food stamp program was stood up? Half a dozen? I don't know. We're talking about decades. And the program didn't just become corrupt yesterday.
And gas dropped dramatically out here.
50 things they don't want you to know. We're talking about billions of dollars going out improperly in food stamps. And over the course of 2 years, I believe it was from 2014 to 2016, you had billions of dollars in food stamp benefits going to dead people. People weren't even alive. I don't know who was collecting those benefits. Somebody was. Here's Brooke Rollins saying the same thing. Almost 24 states asked for the data, but said,
"Yeah, you're right. Aliens."
Hopefully, Brooke Rollins. And
it is kind of where the airport is. Now that I'm looking at the direction, it's probably I mean, there is an air.
I think those are all the states.
Air Guard base there. You know, the aliens could be probing them. I don't think they're doing any night maneuvers tonight. Usually I get a text when they're doing the night maneuvers. Dude, they fly low over my house where I'm at.
work, they don't have small children at home, they're not taking care of an elderly parent, they can work and they choose not to work, of course, because they're getting significant benefits from the taxpayer. So this light, Laura, that has now been shined on what is perhaps one of the most
Unsheltered? No, I
dysfunctional
missed that.
programs in American history, that we're working now for very big announcements coming next week on this. We're cracking down.
What was that about?
We plan to fix it, and we're really, really excited about doing that for the American people.
So this has been going on for many years.
Of course it has. The aforementioned
Biggie.
Schweitzer, he has a podcast called Drill Down Podcast. Schweitzer and his co-host Eric Eggersley took a look at the food stamps program, and they examined how the SNAP program exploded more than 40% during Biden's term. It all comes back to Joe Biden, doesn't it? We talk about the Obamacare subsidy, expanded under Biden. Here it goes. Schweitzer and his Drill Down podcast said during the government shutdown,
Okay.
Rollins has been reviewing data from 2019 administering the food stamp.
All right, just let me know.
Has found that EBT cards that have
I'm still down to run out that way.
$10,000. I mean, you want to talk about fraud? Producer Chris, if I
Got my number, brother.
with an EBT card with a balance of over $10,000, what the hell would you even tell me? I mean, we know that you can take these things to strip clubs. You can put that right into an ATM machine, get cash. Man, that is a long night on the town. Rick Rollins' review also found that cards that haven't been used in years found cards issued to people who never existed. How does that one happen? Oh man, broken and corrupt doesn't even begin to explain it. Schweitzer's podcast goes on to say that SNAP, food stamps, as it's formerly known, has been around since the Great Depression.
All right.
Under the Biden administration, now serves 42 million people in the United States, 1/8 of the population. What's happening to the program running efficiently or properly? Hell no.
Well, I got court next Friday over this accident.
So much worse.
So we'll see what happens with that.
I do mean thankfully. The president picked some extremely capable people who seem to be holding in on the problem. Let's see here. He had an exclusive with oh, here we go. Representative Wesley from Texas. Texas today. So Congressman Hunt is urging Secretary Rollins to expand the legal alien SNAP program. Oh, yeah, of course. Dead people get food stamps. People who have never existed get food stamps. Of course, illegal aliens will get food stamps. Why do you have to probe it? I don't understand that. Is this stuff just analog? You can't just, there isn't just a system. You can just look it up. In an exclusive letter to Rollins obtained by Breitbart News, this from Joshua Klein of Breitbart News, a letter exclusively obtained by Breitbart News in advance of its release, Congressman Hunt praised the Agricultural Secretary in her efforts to expose massive fraud in the SNAP system, while calling for additional steps to confront what he's described as immense waste and taxpayer dollars. Hunt cites a Center for Immigration study and analysis showing that nearly 60% of households headed by illegal aliens rely on at least one major welfare program, and 48% participating in SNAP waivers programs. I mean, we're talking about waste, fraud, abuse, and food stamps, but I'm very familiar with the Center for Immigration Studies, and not familiar with this study that they did showing nearly 60% of households headed by illegal aliens rely on at least one feature welfare program. But if ICE is conducting raids and they are
Check my mailbox real quick.
and arresting illegal aliens in the country, fix the fact that they were in
It's like the wife, you already checked it. It's empty. We're going to back in.
These people shouldn't be in the country. Why the hell are they actually on food stamps? Why are they on WIC? Why are they allowed? Their kids are going to your children's school and eating meals as part of welfare meal programs. That is
Actually, I'm just going to park right behind the wife. She ain't got nowhere to go tomorrow.
People from households that are making at a certain level of poverty level. These are illegal immigrants, and their children going to these schools. Just ridiculous.
All right, hey, thank you, Patriot Roy. Hey, thanks for hanging out, guys. I appreciate it. I know it was a late stream. I think we may go longer tomorrow. We'll have a longer one tomorrow. I got monies to make. Peace. Have a good ride tonight, Mitty. If you do go live, I'll hop in and at least lurk for you. Love you guys. Peace.